In today's EFT session, we'll be tapping for emotional numbness. Go ahead and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the least emotionally numb and 10 being the most emotionally numb, and everything else in between. Go ahead and take a deep breath into your belly and we'll start tapping. Even though I feel emotionally numb, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I recognize that emotional numbness is a shield or a protective mechanism, I would rather not feel emotionally numb. But even though I feel this thing I would rather not feel, I can deeply love and accept myself through the feeling of it. I know that of all the emotions, emotional numbness is kind of the most confusing. Is numbness an emotion if you feel nothing? It's kind of like when you mix a bunch of paint together. It's just like a brown blob. Emotional numbness isn't really the absence of emotions, it's the covering up of other emotions. So even though I sense that there's actually a lot of other emotions below this emotional numbness that my body is trying to protect me from, I'm gonna find the bravery and the self-love to uncover what's beneath this emotional numbness. I know that emotions are not scary, or they don't have to be. That even though my body may be trying to protect me from being overwhelmed, I know that actually I can handle what my body doesn't think I can. So even though I feel emotionally numb, I also feel ready to see what's beneath all this numbness. Numbness is really funny. You know, when we think about like numbness when we go to the dentist, that's to protect us from pain. So when we're recognizing our own emotional numbness, it's kind of like we're our own dentist, or our bodies are our own dentist, where there's that natural numbing trying to protect us from the pain. And pain can be really scary. No wonder our bodies are trying to protect us, because, yeah, yikes, pain. Feels like death sometimes when things get so painful. But it's not. It's not. The numbness doesn't have to be a barrier to how we feel. And while I tap for the release of this emotional numbness, I also want to acknowledge the uncomfortable emotions that I will discover when this emotional numbness passes. It may be that I'm already sensing some of those other negative emotions beneath this numbness. Maybe I'm starting to feel some fear, and maybe I can start tapping on any fear that's beneath the numbness. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let the numbness go, and I'm gonna let any fear beneath the numbness go. And if I need to give some extra taps in order to get through that fear, okay, we can do that. We can tap. Even though things might feel really, really scary, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though there's a sense of danger in the air or in my body or in certain circumstances approaching, I take a deep belly breath and deeply love and accept myself. Even though this numbness might be hiding this fear, I deeply love and accept myself through numbness and fear. It may be that anger is also beneath this numbness. So I'm going to do some taps for anger. For any anger beneath this numbness, this fear, I deeply love and accept myself. Anger is an emotion that doesn't always get a good reputation. No matter which gender you are, there are not great representations of anger in the media and in how we talk about anger and how we allow anger to unfold. One message you may not have received growing up or when you're older is that anger is actually a really important emotion. It's an important emotion to feel, to express in a healthy way, and to acknowledge. Anger is an emotion that protects against boundaries. When we're angry, our boundary has perhaps been tested in some way. We all have different senses of what our own boundaries should be, and sometimes we receive messaging that we're not allowed to have boundaries, we're not allowed to be safe, we're not allowed to say no, we're not allowed to acknowledge that something's not for us. We're not allowed space, we're not allowed time, we're not allowed safety. None of those things are true. I'm going to say that again. None of those things are true. If you were told that you had to be a certain way to be loved, if you were told that you were wrong to be angry about something that you had the right to be angry for, go ahead and tap into that. Tap into both of those and acknowledge that you can deeply love and accept yourself. Perhaps those times have passed. Perhaps those moments you weren't allowed to be angry are long ago or recent. Go ahead and tap for any of that. And as you love and accept yourself for any times of anger, any lingering anger, go ahead and give a little love and self-acceptance or acceptance to those people who incurred your anger. Perhaps they did so purposefully, perhaps they did so unintentionally. Either way, they suck. But we'll be the bigger person and give them some love. And even if they are or are not in our lives anymore, we can still send good things toward them. Maybe that's just healing for them to be a better person and to not hurt other people. When people are their better selves, the people around them suffer less. So even though you might not want to send any well wishes toward anyone you're angry toward, you better the world when you give a little heart and are generous. And you better yourself. Anger can be like a poison if we allow it to fester in our bodies. Anger toward others becomes anger toward ourselves when we don't release it. So even though there's so much frustration, so much anger, I deeply love and accept myself. And underneath the numbness, there might also be some sadness. So if there's any sadness hanging out under that numbness umbrella, let's go ahead and tap on that. Even though I feel deeply sad and am grieving over things that are long gone but still hurt me, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I wish other things had happened or not happened, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to be aggrieved, I know that I'm allowed to feel sad and I'm allowed to feel aggrieved. Even though sadness kind of feels like a stick in the mud, it's not one of those fun emotions like joy or gratitude. I deeply love and accept myself. Even though sadness can make us feel sluggish or make us slow down, I deeply love and accept myself and acknowledge that sometimes I need to slow down. Sometimes I'm doing too much at once and I'm ignoring what my body needs. And sometimes what my body really needs is to sit down on my little plush pillow and start tapping. And to start recognizing what's actually going on in my body. So even though all these emotions underneath this numbness hurt a lot, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though there's some depression, or there might be some depression underneath the sadness, I deeply love and accept myself. And I recognize that depression is kind of a shade of numbness. Numbness is the first level, and then right underneath it, depression is usually hanging out somewhere when there's numbness. We can walk right by depression when we uncover the numbness from the other emotions, or we can say, "What's up, numbness? What's going on? What are you doing? What's going on, depression? What do you want to tell me? What do you need me to slow down for? What is it I'm sad about? What is it I'm angry about? And why can't I just feel those emotions? Why does it have to have depression hanging out or hanging on like a little keychain?" Even though I feel depressed beneath this numbness, I deeply love and accept myself. Numbness, depression, anger, sadness, grief, stress, frustration. None of these things have to hold me down. I'm more than any of these emotions together or on their own. Even though I feel a lot of different emotions, I also recognize that underneath the numbness, there's other emotions hiding out. Maybe there's a bit of joy. Maybe there's desire. Maybe there's hope. Maybe there's positivity curled up under a little mossy rock, like a little chipmunk. Maybe there's curiosity underneath the numbness. Curiosity is kind of one of my favorite states of being, Because when we're curious about the world or ourselves or other people, that's where discovery is. That's where we learn about ourselves and others and about the world. And when you're curious and when you learn, your world kind of expands. Depression and numbness are kind of that tunnel vision, but curiosity is like the tunnel unfurling towards something more pleasurable and exciting. So even though this video started with numbness and sadness and grief and all these other things, let's go ahead and tap for some joy. Let's go ahead and tap for some curiosity, for some excitement, for love, for peace, for ease, for gentleness. What might it be like to give yourself gentleness after this EFT session? What might it be like to give yourself some joy, some curiosity, maybe some dancing, maybe a favorite food that makes you feel good, maybe talk to someone who makes your heart warm, maybe do something nice for someone else. When we do things for others, when we think outside ourselves and our own griefs or sadness or stressors, then we help kind of beautify the spirit of the world. The world can be heavy at times, but there's also so much beauty, and there can be so much lightness. So even though there's times where numbness crops up, even though there's times where sadness and anger and stress and other uncomfortable emotions are kind of peeking out beneath the surface like little ghouls, I deeply love and accept myself. I deeply love and accept myself through all my states of being, through all my emotions, the emotion wheel of all the options of things I can feel. And I deeply love and hope for goodness for all of you watching. I hope for your happiness. I hope for your peace and your ease and your joy and your creativity and your fun and your kindness and empathy to yourself and others. So as we wind down this tapping session, go ahead and give yourself some taps and maybe some of your favorite tapping spots. Love that tapping of the neck. Oh, it feels so good. Go ahead and take a deep breath into your belly and find that number again. What is it now? Is it a 1? Is it a 10? Is it somewhere in between? Let me know what your number is in the comments below. What number did you start at the beginning of this video? Where did you end? And as always, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and please be well, be gentle with yourself. Take care, y'all.